Good evening. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network presents the DCTV Evening News for March 25th, 2019. Camera person is Austin Green. Video and sound engineer is Edward Dicken. Teleprompter and prompter will be Daniel Faulkner. News anchor and meteorologist is Hannah Faulkner. This is your news director, Edward. And now, the news.
Welcome to the DCTV 4-H Kids Evening News Show. We'll hope to keep our Kids News Show on air by buying a sponsorship. To become a sponsor, just call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Now for the news. Hi, I'm Hannah, and here's our first story from the Journal. New Mexico bill will create first state-run pot shops in U.S. The New Mexico will become the first U.S. state to set up its own government-operated marijuana stores and subsidize medical cannabis for the poor under a bill brokered between Republicans and Democrats, as a new wave of states weighs legislation that would legalize recreational sales and consumption. The idea for state-run pot shops comes from a trio of GOP state senators who broke with local Republican Party orthodoxy to embrace legal marijuana, with a decidedly big government approach that will have the state directly oversee most sales and require that marijuana consumers carry receipts of purchase or confront penalties. These provisions were sewn into Democrat-sponsored legislation that contains currents of social justice, including provision to subsidize medical cannabis for poor people with debilitating medical conditions who might not otherwise be able to afford treatment. Tax dollars from recreational marijuana sales would fund employment and counseling programs in communities disproportionately affected by past federal and state government policies, including training to enter the marijuana sector. Carly Wolf, State Policies Coordinator at the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, says the provisions for state-run stores and medical cannabis subsidized both would be new to the United States, as New Mexico seeks to become the first state that sets up a complete regulatory framework through legislation. 10 states and Washington, D.C. have legalized recreational marijuana, and by ballot initiative except Vermont, which allow for personal use and growing, that is still debating whether to authorize commercial production and sales. Other legislative efforts to legalize recreational marijuana are underway in New York and New Jersey, while a bill to legalize recreational cannabis in Democrat-dominated Hawaii fizzled last week. In New Mexico, a coterie of powerful conservative governments still stands in the way of a Senate floor vote on legalization. This is from the Durango Herald. The story is from the Durango Herald. Memphis woman to pay $54,000 in restitution to Dove Creek Fire Department. Memphis resident Julie Ott was sentenced Thursday to 3 years probation and ordered to pay $54,560 in restitution to the Dove Creek Fire Department Protection District after jury found her guilty of criminal mischief causing damage between $20,000 and $100,000 to fire district property. The jury in late February concluded that in May 2017, Ott was unlawfully and knowingly damaged fire district property by evacuating beyond her property line at the La Watha LLC bakery property at 101 U.S. Highway 491 in Dove Creek, adjacent to the Dove Creek Volunteer Fire Department building. After rendering Ott's sentence, 22nd Judicial District Judge Todd Plew told Ott that and Fire District Board President Dan Johnson that he hopes there are no further conflicts between the neighbors, noting that there have not been any other criminal acts. There was a whole lot of anger here, but this is the only case, Plew said. Everybody should be commended for that. Before Thursday's sentencing hearing, Ott, who represented herself in the criminal case with help from advisory counsel Cameron Sechrist, filed a 39-page motion for acquittal, imploring Plew to throw out the jury's guilty verdict. Ott's motion included a transcription of trial proceedings and argues that the prosecution was unable to prove that Ott committed the crime of criminal mischief. Plew said the jury agreed anonymously that she is guilty and it would be improper for him as a judge to insert his belief about the verdict or modify or disregard the jury's verdict. You're essentially relitigating the case, Plew said before he denied the motion to acquit. In Ott's oral statements before sentencing, she said that she is confused and asked Plew why restitution is so high for something that didn't exist. She asked where her money would be going. I'm very confused standing here, Ott concluded. Plew then took a brief recess to type sentencing documents. Upon his return to the courtroom, he said it is very obvious that Ott is indigent and she still believes she did not cross the property line. 2 surveyors agreed that she was over the line, he added. You are mistaken in your belief, and obviously 12 jurors agree, Plew said. Plew said the parties can come to whatever resolution they want. After the mediation is complete, Plew said that Ott can petition the court for unsupervised probation. He said he hopes the parties come to an agreement over the boundary line and where the wall can be built. This story is from the Durango Herald. A guilty verdict in a jury trial Wednesday at the Montezuma County Combined Courts resulted in the defiant family members being removed from the courtroom before being removed from the courthouse entirely. About 1:30 p.m., the jury in 22nd Judicial District Court found Brian C. Gallegos, 42, guilty of 2 counts of felony menacing. Court records say that the defendant's family members were ordered to leave the courtroom and into the hallway, but the hearing was still open to the public. District Attorney Will First, in the statement to the Journal, stated after the guilty verdict that 2 members of the jury informed the judge of the concerns regarding the conduct of at least 1 member of the defendant's family. The jurors were questioned and law enforcement began a criminal investigation. He stated the jurors said the family member did not affect their deliberations or verdict. About 2:30 p.m., proceedings in a Montezuma County courtroom on the other side of the building was stalled as court security deputies were radioed about a disturbance in the hallway. In addition to at least 3 court security deputies, 5 Cortez police officers subpoenaed to testify in preliminary hearings poured out the Montezuma County courtroom and into the hallway along the District Attorney Will First and Deputy District Attorney Jeremy Reed. A court security deputy told a woman who in the hallway to leave. 2 deputies then ran down the hallway towards the district courtroom and informed all members of the Gallegos family, including several small children, to leave the courthouse. Sheriff Steve Nolan said no arrests were made. Deputies ordered them to be removed from the courthouse, and they did, Nolan said. They complied. Court records state the matters that occurred in the courtroom may not be discussed outside of the district attorney's office and the public defender's office. A word of warning: these kinds of reactions can get you a fine or a jail sentence, or both. Better learn how to behave before you attend a courtroom trial. Never walk out if the judge is still in the courtroom, and when a judge stands, you stand too. This story is from the Journal. Native Americans say movement to end red face is slow. John Little can hardly go to a week without a reminder that he and other Native Americans are viewed as relics of the past. An Indian maiden on the butter container at the grocery store, the kids' teepees sold at popular retailers, and sports fans with their faces painted during the tomahawk chops at games. But he doesn't hear widespread outrage over these images that many Native Americans find offensive. New examples have surfaced regularly. Most recently, a TV host who painted her face brown in a parody of not Oscar-nominated Mexican actress Yalitza Aparicio. Native Americans also are a relatively small group, making up less than 2% of U.S. population. Blacks, by comparison, make up around 13%. Convincing the masses that stereotyping Native Americans as savage, ignorant, or humorless is insulting has been a slow movement, scholars say, and one they aren't sure will gain steam. Early settlers wanted to take what they saw as the best values of Native Americans while simultaneously seizing the land and destroying tribal communities, scholars say. Secret societies based on Native American symbols, customs, and terminology formed and still exist, such as the Improvement Order of Redmen and the Boy Scouts Order of the Arrow. The Last of the Mohicans, published in 1862, furthered those depictions and stereotypes, as did Buffalo Bill's Wild West shows, Deloria said. Italian-American actor Iron Eyes Cody is a well-known Indian country for a 1971 environmental ad in which he shed a single tear after padding through a river littered with trash. He wore fringed buckskin and had a feather in his long braided hair. Now here is a red face more prominent than at sporting events, featuring teams with Native American mascots like the Redskins, Braves, and Indians, and around Halloween. It is insulting to many Native Americans because headdresses historically were a symbol of honor and respect earned by tribal chiefs and warriors, they say. Modern-day veterans and leaders sometimes are gifted them in ceremonies and honored with the right to wear them. Red face, for many Native Americans, isn't limited to face. Nicolette Destine Parkhurst, who is a Lakota and Navajo, has been trying to take companies to task for misapproving Native American culture and highlighting indigenous people in a more contemporary way. Now for the dumb law story. Our dumb law segment are actual laws in the books in many states, cities, and municipalities. Dumb laws in South Dakota. No horses are allowed into into Fountain Inn unless they are wearing pants. It is illegal to lie down and fall asleep in a cheese factory. Movies that show police officers being stuck, beaten, or treated in an offensive manner are forbidden. If there are more than 5 Native Americans on your property, you may shoot them. In light of the previous article, this law would be a good one to remove. The dumb laws in South Dakota cities. In Spearfish, if 3 or more Indians are walking down the street together, they can be considered a war party and fired upon. Again, why not remove this one too? Now our weather report Our current weather data comes from the DCTV weather station located in the beautiful downtown Duff Creek. The current temperature is 63 degrees. The high for the day was 64 degrees. The low was 30 degrees. The bubble meter is at 30.22 inches and is falling. Humidity at 10%. Wind is between 1 and 3 miles per hour from the northwest. Gusts have been up to 12 miles per hour. There were 0.00 of an inch of moisture melted today in the DCTV weather station. Moisture for the month is 0.09 of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year 0.35 of an inch. Now for the big map, courtesy of the National Weather Service. There's a bunch of rain active in the Pacific Northwest. Currently, there's a high over Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. There's a little thunderstorm activity in South Texas. A lot more rain activity in the Atlantic Southeast. Here is our exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. Tuesday, partly sunny, high 60, low 39. Wednesday, partly sunny, high 60, low 37. Thursday, partly sunny, high 56, low 32. Friday, partly sunny, high 47, low 27. Saturday, partly sunny, high 47, low 28. Now we present you with a snow tow report, which is the amount of snowpack in the mountains across the state. We hope it will be helpful for our farmers and our skiers. Statewide, the snowpack is 126% of normal. Here in the Southwest, we only have 63% of normal. Now for the climate change report. CO2 carbon dioxide is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. This results in significant variations worldwide of moisture and hot and cool temperatures, but the general climate trend is the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 weekly changes. The following are the CO2 numbers in parts per million. Last week, 412.4. 2 weeks ago, 410.98. Last year, 408.78. 10 years ago, 388.42. 50 years ago, 325.64. Thank you, Dr. Peter Tan of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration and Michael McGee of the CO2.Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help keep our kids' news show on air by buying a sponsorship. To become a sponsor, you have to call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to your news, Doctor.
And that's the end of today's DCTV 4-H news program. This is your news director, Edward. Good night, and thank you for watching.